The neon lights of Port Axiom's underbelly flickered across Kaido Volkov's face as he nursed a glass of synthetic whiskey in the corner of the rusted anchor. The bar was a haven for smugglers, mercenaries, and anyone looking to disappear from official records for a while. Like him, Kai, as he preferred to be called, was trying to ignore the weight of his situation. A debt to the Crimson Hand that grew heavier with each passing day, a ship barely holding together, and memories of a failed run that had cost him everything but his life. His comm unit bust. Unknown sender. Kai considered ignoring it, but desperation made him curious. The message was brief. Business opportunity. Private Booth 7. Now, opportunity. The word tasted bitter in his mind, like the cheap synthetic alcohol burning his throat. But beggars couldn't be choosers, and Kai was definitely begging at this point. He drained his glass and made his way to the private booths at the back of the establishment. Booth 7 was shrouded in privacy screening, a faint shimmer the only indication of its active status. Kai took a breath and passed through. Inside sat a man whose appearance screamed corporate louder than any ID badge could. Perfectly pressed suit, manicured nails, and a smile that never reached his eyes. The man gestured to the seat across from him. Kaido Volkov. Your reputation precedes you. Kai didn't sit. Most people who say that aren't offering me jobs. Xylo's conglomerate sees value where others see liability. The corporate suit placed a data pad on the table and slid forward. We require a simple retrieval and transport mission. The compensation is, I believe, suitable for your current financial predicament. Kai picked up the pad, and his eyes widened involuntarily at the figure displayed. It was enough to clear his debts to the Crimson Hand 3 times over. Too good to be true. What's the catch? He asked, finally taking a seat. The retrieval target is a biological sample, specimen Zeta, from one of our research outposts on LV 748. Kai nearly laughed. The quarantined jungle planet? The one with the flesh eating everything and atmospheric conditions that fry NAV systems. Hence the generous compensation. And what exactly is this specimen? The corporate liaison's smile tightened. That information is compartmentalized. All you need to know is that it's contained in a secure unit in the central biolab of the facility. Why not send your own people? Xylos has fleets of corporate ships better equipped than my rust bucket. Discretion is paramount. Our presence would draw unwanted attention. An independent contractor provides deniability. Kai leaned back, considering. The money would solve his immediate problems, and he'd navigated dangerous planets before. But there was always a catch with corporate jobs. I work alone, he said finally. The man's smile disappeared completely. That's non-negotiable. You will take 2 specialists with you, a security expert and a xenobiologist. They're waiting at docking Bay 42. So I don't even get to choose my own crew. Consider them mission-critical assets, not crew. Take them, complete the mission, receive payment. Simple. Nothing was ever simple. Kai knew. But what choice did he have? The Crimson Hand's patience was running thinner than his ship's hull integrity. Fine, Kai said, standing up. But I call the shots on my ship. The corporate man merely nodded, the fake smile returning. Of course, Captain. Good luck. Kai felt a chill run down his spine as he left the booth. Luck had nothing to do with what awaited him. He knew it in his bones. Docking Bay 42 housed his ship, the Rust Bucket. Despite the derogatory nickname, Kai felt a surge of affection for the battered freighter. She wasn't pretty, with her mismatched hull plates and outdated systems, but she was his, the last remnant of his former life. 2 figures stood near the loading ramp. As Kai approached, he sized them up. The human woman had military written all over her. Ramrod straight posture, alert eyes constantly scanning, and a precision to her movements that spoke of years of training. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight, no-nonsense bun, and a high-powered rifle was strapped to her back beside a standard-issue tactical pack. The other figure was Lorian, tall and slender with iridescent skin that shifted between shades of blue and violet. Like all Lorians, this one possessed an ethereal quality, almost luminous in the dim lighting of the hangar. The alien carried a simple pack and wore what appeared to be specialized sensory equipment around its neck. I'm Kai, he announced, stopping before them. This is my ship. My rules. The human woman stepped forward, offering a stiff nod rather than a handshake. Serafina Bellwether. Alliance Marines, retired. Security Specialist. Alliance. Kai couldn't keep the disdain from his voice. Great. A fan of rules and regulations. An enforcement thereof, she replied coolly. I've read your file, Volkov. I know exactly what kind of captain you are. Before Kai could respond, the Lorian moved forward with fluid grace. Its voice was melodic, neither distinctly male nor female to human ears. I am Viral, xenolinguist and biologist. I am pleased to join this gathering of energies. Typical cryptic Lorian speech. Kai had worked with a few before, brilliant in their fields, but always speaking in terms of resonance, harmony, and energy patterns that most humans found bewildering. Right. Well, welcome aboard the Rust Bucket. She's not pretty, but she'll get us where we need to go. Kai gestured toward the loading ramp. Get your gears stowed. We leave in 30 minutes. The sooner we get this job done, the sooner we can all go our separate ways. Sarah, as Kai decided to call her, mostly because he suspected the formality would annoy her, gave the exterior of the ship a critical once-over. This vessel appears to be operating at minimum safety parameters, she observed flatly. She'll hold together, Kai shot back. Unless you'd prefer to requisition a corporate cruiser and announce our presence to everyone watching Xylo's movements. That silenced her, though her disapproving expression remained. Viral, meanwhile, had approached the hull and placed a long-fingered hand against it. The Lorian skin shifted to a copper-orange hue. This vessel has known much travel. Many stories in its metal bones. It will serve our purpose. See? The alien gets it, Kai said with mock cheerfulness. Now both of you inside, and try not to touch anything without asking first. The next 20 minutes were a tense dance of territory establishment. Sarah methodically inspected every corner of the ship with barely concealed disdain. Viral moved about with quiet curiosity, occasionally murmuring about harmonic resonances when touching various systems. Kai found himself already regretting this job, despite the credits it promised. As they prepared for departure, Kai settled into the pilot's chair, running through pre-flight checks. To his annoyance, Sarah took the co-pilot's seat without asking. I have training in navigation and shield systems, she stated, not bothering to look at him as she familiarized herself with the console. Did I ask for help? Kai snapped. You need it, she replied simply. Your port thruster is misaligned by at least 12 degrees, and your navigation array is using outdated encryption protocols. My ship, my problems. Our mission, our survival, she countered. From behind them, Viral spoke. The discord between your energies creates inefficiency. Perhaps a harmonizing of purpose would benefit our collective journey. Kai and Sarah both turned to stare at the Lorian, who stood in the doorway with skin now pulsing a gentle green. What my colorful colleague is trying to say, Sarah translated with surprising patience, is that we should try to work together instead of bickering like children. Fine, Kai conceded. You can co-pilot. Viral, find somewhere to strap in. Takeoff from this dump is never smooth. Port Axiom fell away beneath them as the Rust Bucket lurched into the black. Kai plotted a course for LV 748, deliberately avoiding the main shipping lanes. The less attention they attracted, the better. Once they were safely in FDL transit, Kai engaged the autopilot and swiveled his chair to face his unwanted companions. All right, we've got 3 days until we reach LV 748. Let's get some things straight. I know Xylos isn't telling us everything, and I'm guessing you two know more than I do. So how about some honesty? Sarah's expression remained neutral. I was briefed on security parameters only. The specimen is classified. My job is to ensure its safe retrieval and your compliance with mission objectives. My compliance? Kai raised an eyebrow. So you're my babysitter, not my security. Both, she admitted without apology. Kai turned to Viral. And you? What's your real purpose here? The Lorian skin rippled with shades of purple and blue. I am to assess the specimen's condition and ensure proper handling protocols. Its nature is Sensitive. Sensitive how? Kai pressed. That information is, Sarah began. Compartmentalized. Yeah, I got that part. Kai stood up, frustration evident. Let me be clear. We're heading to a death trap of a planet to retrieve something neither of you will fully explain. I need to know what I'm walking into, or this ship turns around right now. You would forfeit your payment? Sarah challenged. I'd rather be broke than dead because of corporate secrets. A moment of tense silence filled the cockpit. Then, to Kai's surprise, Viral spoke. The specimen is a biological anomaly discovered during routine exploration. It exhibits unique properties of interest to xenobiological research. Beyond this, I cannot say more without direct observation. It wasn't much, but it was something. Kai nodded, accepting this small concession. Fine, but any sign that this job is more dangerous than advertised, and I'm making executive decisions, contract be damned. Noted, Sarah said coldly. Though I remind you that breach of contract with Xylos typically results in severe consequences. Added to the list of people who want me dead, Kai muttered, checking the navigation display. I'm going to run diagnostics on the ship. Make yourselves comfortable, but not too comfortable. The 3 days in transit established a tenuous rhythm. Kai spent most of his time in the engine room, making minor repairs and adjustments. Sarah divided her time between monitoring communications, checking her weapons, and performing a rigorous exercise regimen in the cargo hold. Viral was the most difficult to track, often found in quiet meditation or studying the ship's limited xenobiology database. Meals were tense affairs of minimal conversation. On the second night, however, as they sat around the small galley table eating synthetic protein packs, the ice began to crack slightly. This ship has seen combat, Sarah observed, gesturing with her fork to a patched section of bulkhead. Plasma scoring under the new plating. Recent, too. Kai hesitated, then nodded. Run in with Outer Rim pirates about 8 months back. They were after my cargo. What were you hauling? She asked, her tone professional rather than accusatory for once. Medical supplies for a colony on Terrace 4. Nothing illegal. For a change, he added with a hint of defiance. The colony was suffering from a viral outbreak. They couldn't afford official channels, so I cut them a deal. Sarah seemed to reassess him slightly. That's commendable. Don't sound so surprised. Not all smugglers are just in it for the credits. Yet here you are, working for Xylos because you need credits, she pointed out. We all have our reasons for being here, Kai replied, glancing between her and Viral. I doubt either of you took this job out of corporate loyalty. Viral's skin shifted to a thoughtful amber. Purpose may reveal itself in stages, not all at once. The path becomes clear as it is walked. Right? Kai said, having given up on getting straight answers from the Lorian. And what's your story, Sarah? Alliance Marines don't typically retire to become corporate security. A shadow passed over her face. Some missions change you, make you question orders, loyalty, purpose. Which mission broke you? Kai asked quietly. Her eyes snapped to his, hard and defensive. I'm not broken, Volkov. Didn't say you were. But something made you trade your shiny Alliance uniform for Xylos' payroll. She stood abruptly. We all have our ghosts. I don't need to share mine. After she left, Viral looked at Kai with skin now a deep midnight blue. Her resonance carries deep wounds, as does yours. Different causes, similar pain. Kai felt unexpectedly exposed onto the alien's perceptive gaze. Stay out of my head, Lorian. I do not read thoughts, only energetic patterns, Viral clarified gently. But I will respect your boundaries. The conversation ended there, but something had shifted. A fragile thread of understanding had formed, tenuous but real. The third day brought a technical crisis that forced further cooperation. A power fluctuation in the life support systems required all hands to resolve. Kai found himself impressed, despite himself, as Sarah quickly diagnosed a faulty regulator, while Viral displayed unexpected knowledge of the ship's older systems. Together, they restored functionality before oxygen levels became critical. As they finished, Kai caught Sarah studying him. What? He asked defensively. You know this ship like it's an extension of yourself, she observed. Every patch, every workaround. It's Impressive in its way. Coming from her, it was practically effusive praise. Kai merely nodded, uncomfortable with the glimmer of respect in her eyes. LV 748 approaching, the ship's automated system announced. Atmospheric entry in 30 minutes. The moment of camaraderie evaporated as reality reasserted itself. They were about to plunge into one of the most dangerous environments in charted space. Battle stations, kids, Kai announced with forced lightness. This is where the fun begins. LV 748 loomed in the view screen, a swirling mass of green, blue, and angry storm systems. The planet's atmosphere was infamous for its electrical storms and unpredictable gravitational anomalies, byproducts of a unique combination of magnetic fields and atmospheric composition. Sensors detecting multiple storm fronts across our projected landing trajectory, Sarah reported, her voice professionally clipped. Standard approach won't work here, Kai said, taking manual control. We'll need to thread the needle between those systems. The approach vector is redlined, Sarah objected. Regulations state. Forget. Regulations, Kai cut her off. This isn't an Alliance cruiser with state-of-the-art shields. We do this my way, or we end up scattered across the upper atmosphere. Her jaw tightened, but she nodded reluctantly. Viral, Kai called over his shoulder, strapping tight. This will get rough. The Lorian had already secured themselves to the jump seat behind the pilots, but now leaned forward slightly. A moment, Viral said. I may assist. Before either human could question this, Viral closed their large, multifaceted eyes and extended both hands, palms facing the view screen. The Lorian skin began to pulse with waves of color, electric blue fading to deep purple and back again. A subtle humming emanated from the alien's throat. What are you? Kai began. The storms, Viral said, eyes still closed. They have patterns, rhythms, resonant frequencies that can be sensed. 15 degrees starboard. Descend 27 degrees. Now, without fully understanding why, Kai followed the instruction, banking the ship sharply. A massive lightning discharge flashed where they would have been. How did you? Continue this vector for 17 seconds, then ascend 32 degrees. Viral continued, skin pulsing faster now. Sarah shot Kai a questioning look. He shrugged and followed Viral's guidance. For the next harrowing minutes, they navigated the turbulent atmosphere through this bizarre collaboration. Kai's piloting instincts, Sarah's precise management of the failing shields, and Viral's inexplicable ability to predict the storm movements created a dance of survival. The ship bucked and groaned under the strain, but held together. Finally, they broke through the cloud layer into the lower atmosphere. The dense jungle canopy of LV 748 spread below them, an endless sea of alien vegetation in improbable shades of purple, blue, and crimson. Scanning for the outpost location, Sarah announced, fingers flying across the sensor controls. No need, Viral said, opening their eyes at last. Their skin had settled into a deep turquoise. It lies 17 kilometers northeast of our position. I can sense the resonant technologies. Since when can Lorians detect buildings from orbit? Kai asked suspiciously. The facility contains systems that generate distinct energy patterns, Viral explained vaguely. My species is sensitive to such emissions. Before Kai could press further, the ship lurched violently. Warning lights flashed across the console. What now? He growled, fighting the controls. Gravitational anomaly, Sarah reported tensely. Localized distortion field. Shields failing. Switching to emergency landing protocols, Kai announced, redirecting power from non-essential systems. Brace for impact. The rust bucket screamed through the last 100 meters, thrusters struggling against the planet's chaotic gravitational fields. With a bone-jarring crash, they hit the ground in a small clearing, skidding through alien vegetation before coming to a halt. For a moment, only the sound of hissing systems and settling metal filled the cockpit. Then, Kai ran a quick diagnostic. Primary systems offline. Backup power at 60%. Comms array destroyed in the landing. He punched a bulkhead in frustration. We're grounded until repairs can be made, which would require parts we don't have, Sarah concluded grimly. We proceed with the mission, Viral said with unexpected firmness. Retrieve the specimen, then address our departure options. Kai unstrapped himself and stood, wincing at a pain in his side, probably a bruised rib from the landing. All right, let's assess the damage, gather what we need, and move out. The outpost is our best bet for parts anyway. The jungle of LV 748 made Earth's most dangerous rainforests seem like manicured gardens. Every plant seemed designed to kill: razor-edged leaves, toxic spores that drifted on the humid air, vines that reacted to movement with whip-like strikes. The ground itself was treacherous, with patches of what appeared to be solid earth actually concealing digestive pits filled with caustic enzymes. And then there was the fauna. Down, Sarah hissed, raising her rifle. They dropped as a creature resembling a cross between a panther and a praying mantis leaped over them, its segmented limbs ending in serrated claws. Sarah's rifle barked 3 times, and the creature crashed into the underbrush, twitching. Juvenile mantis stalker, Viral observed with academic interest. Normally they hunt in pairs. Thanks for the zoology lesson, Kai muttered, drawing his own sidearm and scanning the surrounding vegetation. Where's its buddy? A screech from above answered his question. The second predator dropped from the canopy directly toward Kai. He fired twice but missed vital areas. The creature's momentum carried it forward, and Kai braced for impact. It never came. Instead, the stalker froze in midair, its body shuddering. Viral stood with one arm extended, their skin now a brilliant, pulsing red. Veins stood out on the Lorian's neck and forehead as they held the creature suspended through some unseen force. I cannot. Hold it. Long, Viral gasped. Sarah didn't hesitate. She put 3 precise shots into the creature's head, and it collapsed limply to the ground. Viral sagged, their skin fading to a pale, exhausted blue. Kai rushed to steady the alien. What the hell was that? He demanded, helping Viral sit on a fallen log. Bioresonant manipulation, Viral explained between labored breaths. A natural ability of my kind, though rarely used so aggressively. It is normally employed for communication, healing. You never mentioned you could do that, Sarah said, reloading her weapon while keeping watch. It is taxing, not sustainable as a defense mechanism. Viral was already recovering, their color normalizing, but useful in emergencies. Kai exchanged a look with Sarah. There was clearly more to their Lorian companion than either had suspected. Can you walk? Kai asked. We need to keep moving. Those shots will attract attention, the predator kind, and maybe worse. Viral nodded and rose gracefully. I am recovered. The outpost remains in that direction. They pointed northeast through the dense foliage. For the next several hours, they pushed through the jungle in a formation that evolved organically based on their strengths. Sarah took point, her military training perfect for threat detection and neutralization. Kai navigated, finding paths of least resistance through the hostile vegetation. Viral brought up the rear, their empathic senses alert for dangers approaching from behind or hidden predators waiting in ambush. They worked with increasing coordination, warnings and observations passing between them with growing efficiency. When Viral sensed a patch of toxic spores ahead, Kai found an alternate route without question. When Kai spotted a navigational landmark, Sarah adjusted their security posture automatically. It was, Kai realized with some surprise, the most effective team he'd worked with in years, maybe ever. By the time the research outpost came into view, the sun was setting, casting long shadows through the jungle canopy. The facility was smaller than Kai had expected, a series of interconnected modules partially embedded in a hillside, now overgrown with creeping vegetation. They took cover at the jungle's edge, observing the silent structure. No external lighting, Sarah noted. No security systems active that I can detect. How long has this place been abandoned? Kai wondered aloud. Recent evacuation, Viral stated confidently. The energy signatures are diminished, but not dissipated. Less than 1 standard month. Any life signs? Sarah asked, adjusting her rifle's scope to scan the building. Viral closed their eyes in concentration. Indeterminate. There are disruptions in the normal patterns. Something is interfering with clear sensing. That's not ominous at all, Kai muttered. Any idea where we'll find this specimen? Central Biolab, Sarah replied. According to the facility schematics I reviewed pre-mission. Let me guess, those schematics didn't include security codes or access protocols, Kai said sarcastically. Actually, they did, Sarah countered, surprising him. Full access credentials were provided in my briefing. Well, that's something, Kai conceded. Let's move while we still have some light. The main entrance was sealed with an emergency lockdown protocol, a heavy blast door designed to contain whatever might be inside, as much as keep external threats out. Sarah approached the access panel and entered a sequence of commands. Nothing happened. Credentials rejected, she reported with a frown. Move aside, Kai said, pulling a small device from his jacket pocket. Good thing rule breakers like me come prepared. An illegal decryption module. Sarah's disapproval was palpable. A survival tool, Kai corrected, attaching the device to the panel. You want to wait out here all night with the carnivorous local wildlife. Before she could respond, Viral stepped forward and placed a hand on the door itself, not the panel. The Lorian skin shifted to a deep, resonant purple. This facility was designed with Lorian bioresonant technology integrated into its security systems, Viral explained. A collaboration between our species and yours. There is another way. The alien began emitting a low, melodic hum that seemed to vibrate at an almost subliminal level. Kai felt the sound more than heard it, a strange vibration that made his teeth ache slightly. To their astonishment, indicator lights on the door panel shifted from red to amber. With a pneumatic hiss, the massive door began to slide open. How did you do that? Sera demanded. I communicated with the dormant systems, Viral said simply. They recognized a Lorian resonance pattern and initiated emergency access protocols. Why? Wouldn't Xylos tell us about this feature? Kai asked suspiciously. Perhaps they did not know, Viral suggested. Or perhaps they did not wish you to know of my capabilities. The implications of that statement hung in the air as they cautiously entered the darkened facility. Emergency lighting activated automatically at their presence, casting the interior in a dim, reddish glow. The entrance led to a decontamination chamber, now offline. Beyond, that was a central hub with corridors branching out like spokes on a wheel. The air was stale but breathable, with a faint undertone of antiseptic chemicals. Signs of a struggle, Sarah observed clinically, pointing to scorch marks on one wall and what appeared to be dried blood on the floor. Whatever happened here, it was violent, Kai agreed, examining a research console that had been smashed. But not total destruction. Looks more like a fighting retreat. The central biolab would be along the north corridor, Sarah indicated, consulting a small holographic map she projected from her wrist unit. As they moved deeper into the facility, the damage became more extensive. Doors hung open or had been forced. Equipment lay scattered and broken. Data pads and research notes were strewn about haphazardly. Kai picked up one that seemed mostly intact and skimmed its contents. Listen to this. Day 42, specimen Zeta continues to exhibit unprecedented levels of harmonic resonance. Dr. Harrison believes we have only scratched the surface of its capabilities for interspecies synchronization. The corporate oversight team is pushing for weaponization trials, but there are serious ethical concerns among the research staff. Weaponization? Sarah's expression darkened. That wasn't in my briefing. Shocking, Kai replied dryly. A corporation lied about its true intentions. Viral had gone very still, their skin shifting to a pale, almost translucent white. We must proceed with greater caution. The specimen may not be what we were led to believe. They continued down the corridor, passing laboratories and workstations, all bearing signs of the same hasty evacuation or conflict. Occasionally, Viral would stop to examine particular pieces of equipment, their expression unreadable but their skin color shifting through troubled patterns of gray and deep blue. Something's wrong, Sarah said suddenly, raising her rifle. Listen. They froze. At first, Kai heard nothing beyond the subtle hum of the emergency power systems. Then he caught it, a faint, irregular scratching sound coming from somewhere ahead. Could be damaged equipment, he suggested quietly. Automated systems trying to run maintenance cycles. Or survivors, Sarah countered. Or neither, Viral added ominously. They proceeded with weapons drawn, moving as silently as possible. The scratching grew louder as they approached a junction in the corridor. Sarah motioned for them to hold position as she peered around the corner. She withdrew quickly, her expression tense. Movement, approximately 20 meters ahead. Appears to be some kind of, I'm not sure, not human. Let me see, Viral requested. Sarah hesitated, then nodded. The Lorian looked around the corner, then pulled back with skin now pulsing an alarmed orange. A research subject, Viral whispered. Native fauna altered by experimentation. Its resonance pattern is wrong, discordant, dangerous? Kai asked, checking the charge on his blaster. Highly, Viral confirmed. Its natural patterns have been artificially amplified and destabilized. We need to neutralize it, Sarah decided. Quickly and quietly. Or avoid it entirely, Kai suggested. Is there another route to the biolab? Sarah consulted her map. Maintenance tunnels run parallel to this corridor. Access hatch should be there. She pointed to a small panel on the wall behind them. Kai moved to the panel and began working the release mechanism. Good call. No need to fight what we can avoid. The hatch opened with a reluctant groan of metal, revealing a narrow service tunnel dimly lit by emergency strips. They squeezed inside one by one, Kai pulling the hatch closed behind them. The maintenance tunnel was cramped but navigable, forcing them to move in single file. Kai took the lead this time, with Sarah in the middle and Viral bringing up the rear. Should intersect with the biolab's maintenance access in about 50 meters, Kai whispered, consulting Sarah's map which she had transferred to his wrist unit. They had covered perhaps half that distance when Viral spoke urgently from behind. Stop. Something approaches through the tunnel network. They froze, listening. A faint pattering sound echoed through the metal confines, something moving rapidly on multiple legs. It sensed us, Viral said, skin flickering with alarm. It follows our resonance trail. Our what? Kai hissed. No time, Sarah cut in. Move. Now. They abandoned stealth for speed, rushing through the narrow passage as the sounds of pursuit grew louder. The tunnel intersected with another, then another, forming a confusing maze. Left here, Sarah ordered, taking the lead. Biolab access should be just ahead. They rounded a corner and found themselves facing a dead end. A collapsed section of tunnel blocked their path. Backtrack, Kai said urgently, turning around. Too late. A chittering sound announced their pursuer's arrival. In the dim emergency lighting, they caught glimpses of a nightmarish creation. Something that might once have been a local arthropod, now grotesquely enhanced with mechanical components and pulsing with an unnatural bioluminescence. Sarah raised her rifle, but hesitated. Too confined. Ricochet risk. The creature scuttled forward with unnatural speed. Viral stepped in front of the humans, skin blazing to an intense crimson. Cover your ears and eyes, the Lorian commanded. Kai didn't question the instruction, pulling Sarah down and shielding their senses as best he could. Even so, what followed was overwhelming. Viral emitted a sound that wasn't quite sound, a pulse of pure resonant energy that made the very air vibrate. The wave hit the creature head-on, causing its bioluminescent parts to flare blindingly. The monster convulsed, its mechanical components sparking and failing, before collapsing into a twitching heap. When Kai dared to look up, he found Viral leaning heavily against the tunnel wall, their skin faded to an exhausted gray. That was impressive. He managed, helping the Lorian stay upright. And completely outside standard Lorian capabilities, Sarah added, eyeing their alien companion with new wariness. What aren't you telling us, Viral? Later, the Lorian gasped. We must reach the specimen before more come. The tunnel's blocked, Kai pointed out. We need another route. Sarah studied the collapsed section, then the ceiling of the tunnel. These run directly below the main corridors. We go up. With Kai's help, she located a maintenance hatch in the ceiling and forced it open. They emerged into a laboratory filled with monitoring equipment, most of it damaged or powered down. Biolab should be adjacent to this room, Sarah said, orienting herself. How are you holding up? Kai asked Viral, who was still moving with obvious effort. I will manage, the Lorian assured him. Such exertions are taxing, but not debilitating. Kai nodded, though concern lingered. There was clearly much more to their alien companion than either human had been told. They moved cautiously through the lab to a heavy security, door-marked central biocontainment. Unlike the other doors they'd encountered, this one appeared untouched by whatever conflict had emptied the facility. Sarah approached the access panel and entered her credentials. To everyone's surprise, the panel lit green and the door unsealed with a pressurized hiss. They wanted us to reach this room, Kai realized aloud. The credentials work here, but nowhere else. A trap? Sarah suggested, weapon ready. Or desperation, Viral countered, moving forward with renewed purpose. The specimen may require retrieval for reasons beyond Xylos's stated goals. The central biolab was a circular chamber dominated by a containment unit in its center. Unlike the rest of the facility, this room was fully powered, glowing with the blue-white light of active research equipment. The containment unit itself was a cylindrical structure of transparent material, surrounded by monitoring stations and reinforced with energy field emitters. Inside the cylinder floated something none of them had been prepared for. That specimen, Zeta? Kai breathed, approaching cautiously. Within the containment field hovered what appeared to be a crystalline lattice structure, roughly the size of a human heart. It pulsed with inner light that shifted through colors in hypnotic patterns. Threads of what looked like organic matter wove through the crystal matrix, giving it an unsettling impression of being simultaneously mechanical and alive. More striking than its appearance was the sensation it created, a subtle vibration felt not with the ears, but somewhere deeper, like standing too close to a massive engine at idle. It's beautiful, Sarah said, her professional detachment momentarily forgotten. Viral had gone completely still, their skin cycling through colors so rapidly it created a strobing effect. When they spoke, their voice was barely a whisper, a chorus seed. "And what?" Kai asked, unable to take his eyes off the pulsing crystal. "Something sacred to my people. Something that should not be here." Viral moved closer to the containment unit, placing a trembling hand against its surface. They have damaged it, altered its natural resonance patterns. Sarah had recovered her composure and was examining the monitoring equipment. According to these readings, the specimen is stable but evolving. There's a note here about accelerated metamorphosis since isolation. "We need to extract it and get out of here," Kai said, searching for the containment release controls. "Whatever it is, we can figure out once we're off this death trap of a planet." "Wait," Viral said urgently. "The extraction must be done with extreme care. The containment field is integrated with the seed's current resonance pattern. Disruption could trigger a cascade effect." "Meaning what exactly?" Kai demanded. "Meaning it could kill us all," Sarah translated grimly, reading from the terminal. "These warnings are explicit. The specimen's energy output multiplied tenfold during the last containment field adjustment." "Perfect," Kai muttered. "So how do we get it out?" Viral moved to one of the monitoring stations and began interacting with the controls with surprising confidence. These systems incorporate Lorian interface protocols. I can initiate a gradual power reduction that should allow safe extraction. The alien's hands moved with practiced precision, but it will take time to do properly. "Time we might not have," Sarah warned, checking the security feeds. "I'm picking up movement in other parts of the facility. More of those altered creatures converging on our location." "How long?" Kai asked Viral. "Minimum of 12 minutes for safe power reduction," the Lorian replied. "We'll have company before then," Sarah confirmed grimly. At least 6 distinct signatures approaching through the corridors. Kai made a quick decision. "Sarah, secure the entrance. Set up a defensive position. I'll help Viral with the extraction. We move as soon as the specimen is contained. Sarah nodded and immediately began reconfiguring the laboratory's security measures, overriding door controls and establishing a kill zone at the main entrance. Kai turned to Viral. Tell me what you need. Monitor these readings, the Lorian instructed, indicating a set of fluctuating graphs. Alert me if any spike beyond the yellow markers. As Viral worked the main controls with increasing intensity, their skins settling into a deep, concentrated purple, Kai found himself studying the alien with new curiosity. You've done this before, he observed quietly. This isn't your first time handling one of these. Chorus seeds. Viral's hands paused momentarily. No, it is not. Care to tell me what we're really doing here? Because I'm guessing it's not just a corporate retrieval mission. The Lorian continued working, but answered in a low voice. The seed was stolen from a Lorian sacred site 3 standard years ago. We traced it to Xylos. They have been experimenting on it, attempting to weaponize its harmonic properties. And you're what? Some kind of Lorian secret agent. A flicker of what might have been amusement passed through Viral skin patterns. Nothing so dramatic. I am a guardian. My purpose is to protect the seed and return it to its rightful place. And Xylos doesn't know that's why you're here. They believe I am a contracted xenobiologist, nothing more. And Sarah? Is she in on this? No, she is exactly what she appears to be. Xylos security assigned to ensure retrieval and your compliance. Kai absorbed this, conflicted. So, I'm caught between corporate interests and alien religious objectives. Fantastic. Your cynicism is understandable, Viral replied with unexpected gentleness. But the seed is not merely a religious artifact. It is a living entity of immense potential. In the wrong hands, it could. A sudden alarm from the console interrupted them. The containment field flickered, and the crystalline structure within pulsed more rapidly. What's happening? Kai demanded. Power fluctuation, Viral responded, hands flying over the controls. The facility systems are becoming unstable. Something is. A distant explosion rocked the facility, causing equipment to shudder. Perimeter breach. Sarah called from her position at the door. Multiple hostiles incoming. Not creatures, humanoid signatures. Armed and armored. Xylos cleanup crew, Kai guessed darkly. They never intended for us to leave this planet. The seed is responding to the disturbance, Viral warned, their voice tight with concern. Its resonance patterns are accelerating beyond safe parameters. As if confirming this assessment, the crystal lattice within the containment field began spinning faster, its colors intensifying to near-blinding brightness. The humming vibration that had been barely perceptible now grew to a physical force they could feel in their bones. Can you stabilize it? Kai asked, grabbing a nearby table for support as the vibrations intensified. I'm trying. Viral's skin had gone almost white with concentration. But the systems are failing. The seed is attempting to protect itself. The containment field suddenly pulsed with brilliant light. Kai felt rather than heard Viral's warning shout as a wave of energy exploded outward from the cylinder. The force knocked him backward, and for a moment, everything went white. When consciousness returned, Kai found himself on the floor, a strange ringing in his ears. He blinked, trying to clear his vision, and became aware of something profoundly different. He could feel Sarah's heart racing with adrenaline and tactical calculations, even though she was across the room. He sensed Viral's ancient sorrow and desperate hope as clearly as his own thoughts. More disturbingly, he could perceive the crystalline seed's alien awareness. Not thoughts exactly, but patterns of existence utterly foreign to human experience. What? What happened? He managed to gasp, struggling to his feet. Sarah had already risen, her rifle trained on the entrance, but her eyes were wide with the same disorientation he felt. Energy cascade, Viral explained, their voice strangely calm despite the chaos. The seed's protective response. It has. Connected us. Connected how? Sarah demanded, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Our consciousness patterns have been partially harmonized, Viral explained. A defensive measure. The seed perceived threat and created Allies. It's in my head, Kai said, pressing his palms against his temples. I can feel both of you. And you, Viral confirmed. The effect is likely temporary, but significant. We must use it to our advantage. The Xylo's forces will reach us in moments. As if to punctuate this statement, gunfire erupted in the corridor outside. Sarah instinctively moved to a better firing position, and Kai found himself anticipating her movements before she made them. The containment field is compromised, Viral reported, examining the now flickering cylinder. I must transfer the seed to a portable containment unit immediately. Kai moved to help without being asked, operating unfamiliar equipment with unexpected confidence, drawing on Viral's knowledge through their new connection. Sarah, how long can you hold them? He called. She fired a precise burst through the doorway, taking down a Xylo's operative who had tried to advance. 2 minutes, maybe 3. They're well equipped. Working on it, Kai assured her, helping Viral connect a smaller containment device to the main unit. The process felt strangely familiar, though he knew he'd never done anything like it before. The seed pulsed erratically as they worked, its vibration now a physical pressure against their skin. Through their new connection, Kai could sense its agitation, its alien awareness expanding and contracting in response to the danger. Almost there, Viral murmured, making final adjustments to the portable unit. Preparing for transfer sequence. Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Warning lights flashed across the lab as primary power failed, leaving only emergency systems operational. They're breaching the secondary barriers, Sarah reported tensely. 30 seconds max. Ready, Viral announced. Initiating transfer. Now. The Lorian activated the sequence, and the seed's containment field began to contract, guiding the crystalline structure toward the portable unit. As it moved, the humming vibration intensified, becoming almost painful. Something's wrong, Kai realized, feeling a sudden spike of alarm through their connection. Viral, the transfer is destabilizing, the Lorian confirmed, their skin shifting to alarmed crimson. The seed's resonance is... The containment field collapsed completely. For one terrible moment, the chorus seed hung suspended in open air, its light pulsing frantically. Then it flared with blinding intensity. A second wave of energy, far more powerful than the first, exploded outward. Kai felt it pass through him like a physical force, rearranging something fundamental at his core. Through their connection, he experienced Sarah's shock and Viral's wonder simultaneously with his own disorientation. When the light faded, the seed had somehow transferred itself to the portable unit, which now hummed with stable energy. But the change in the three of them was immediate and profound. Kai felt sharper, more aware. His reflexes seemed to operate at a higher speed. Through their connection, he sensed similar enhancements in the others. Sarah's already formidable tactical awareness expanded to an almost precognitive level, while Viral's natural resonant abilities had amplified exponentially. What did it do to us? Sarah demanded, though her voice lacked its usual edge of suspicion. It has harmonized with our specific strengths, Viral explained, all evident in both their voice and rippling skin patterns. A defensive symbiosis, temporary but powerful. Explains why I suddenly feel like I could fly this entire facility if it had engines, Kai said, flexing his hands experimentally. We need to move, Sarah interrupted, her enhanced senses already tracking the approaching enemies. North maintenance shaft. I can see the optimal escape route. Without questioning how she knew this, Kai grabbed the portable containment unit while Viral gathered critical data from the lab systems. They moved with unprecedented coordination, requiring minimal verbal communication as their shared awareness guided their actions. Sarah led them to a maintenance access panel hidden behind monitoring equipment. As Kai worked to open it, Viral turned toward the lab entrance, raising both hands. Cover your sensors, the Lorian warned. This time, the resonant pulse Viral emitted was controlled and directed, a focused wave that shattered equipment and collapsed part of the ceiling across the main entrance, just as Xylo's operatives began to breach it. They slipped into the maintenance shaft as confusion erupted behind them. Moving through the cramped space with perfect coordination, they navigated the facility's hidden infrastructure, evading pursuit through routes that Sarah somehow knew instinctively. "The seed is stabilizing," Viral observed as they paused at a junction. "But the facility's self-destruct sequence has been activated." "How do you know that?" Kai asked, though he could already feel the truth of it through their connection. "I can sense the power buildup," Viral explained. "Approximately 12 minutes until critical failure." "They're covering their tracks," Sarah concluded grimly. "Standard Xylos protocol for compromised black sites. No witnesses, no evidence." "Then we better move faster," Kai said, already plotting the most efficient route back to the Rust Bucket. "Any ideas on how to repair our ship with our new abilities?" Viral's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue-green. "The seed's energy could potentially be harnessed to temporarily boost our systems. Enough for emergency launch, at least." "Is that safe?" Sarah asked, her enhanced tactical mind already calculating risks. "Define safe," Kai replied with a grim smile. "We're already psychically linked by an alien artifact while being hunted by corporate killers on a planet where everything wants to eat us. I think we're past safe." They emerged from the facility through a ventilation shaft near what had once been landing pads for research vessels. The jungle had partially reclaimed the area, but a clear path remained. The Xylos team arrived in assault shuttles, Sarah reported, scanning the area with enhanced perception. 3 units, heavily armed. "They've established a perimeter around this compound and our ship. Can we reach the Rust Bucket without being detected?" Kai asked. Viral closed their eyes, skin shifting to a deep, concentrating purple. "Yes, I can create a resonant disruption that will temporarily blind their sensors. But we must move quickly through the jungle. The disruption will attract predators." "Of course it will," Kai muttered. "Lead on." With Viral's disruption field active, a subtle vibration that seemed to bend light and sound around them, they slipped past the Xylos perimeter and plunged into the dense jungle. Their enhanced coordination made navigating the hostile environment almost effortless compared to their inbound journey. When a pack of predators similar to the ones they'd encountered earlier detected them despite the disruption, Sarah dispatched them with uncanny accuracy while barely breaking stride. Kai found himself automatically finding the safest path through the undergrowth, while Viral maintained their protective field with newfound endurance. They reached the Rust Bucket just as distant explosions signaled the beginning of the research facility's destruction sequence. Kai immediately set to work on repairs, his hands moving with preternatural speed and precision across systems he understood better than ever before. "Xylos forces have detected the facility's self-destruct sequence," Sarah reported, taking up a defensive position at the ship's ramp. "They're beginning evacuation procedures. We have minutes at most before they widen their search perimeter." Viral carefully placed the portable containment unit in the ship's secure storage compartment, then joined Kai in the engine room. "The main power couplings are fused," Kai explained, wrist deep in the ship's propulsion system. "Even with my enhanced abilities, I can't repair them properly without parts." "We don't need proper repairs," Viral reminded him. "Just enough to achieve escape velocity." The Lorian placed both hands on the ship's main power conduit, and their skin began to glow with the same pulsing patterns as the chorus seed. Energy visibly flowed from Viral into the ship's systems. "What are you doing?" Kai asked, though he could sense the answer through their connection. "Creating a temporary bridge between the seed's energy and your engines," Viral explained, their voice strained with concentration. "It won't last long, but it should be enough." The ship's systems began powering up, displays lighting with energy readings well beyond their normal parameters. Kai felt the vibration through the deck plates, the same subtle resonance as the seed, now suffusing his vessel. "Sarah," he called, "get to the cockpit. We're leaving." Moments later, they were strapped into their positions, Kai at the controls, Sarah monitoring sensors, and Viral channeling energy between the seed and the ship's critical systems. "Xylos forces detected," Sarah announced tensely. "Multiple signatures converging on our position." Hang on, Kai warned, firing the engines. The rust bucket lurched upward with unexpected power, nearly throwing them from their seats. The ship's frame groaned under stress it wasn't designed to handle, but held together as they rocketed upward through the atmosphere. Warnings flashed across Kai's console. System overloads, structural integrity issues, engine temperatures far beyond safe parameters. But he ignored them, pushing the ship harder. Through their connection, he could feel virile strain as the Lorian maintained the energy flow, and Sarah's heightened focus as she tracked pursuit vectors. 2 Xylos interceptors launching, she reported. Targeting systems active. Evasive maneuvers won't work in our condition, Kai said, hands dancing across the controls. We need to outrun them to the jump point. The seed's energy is fluctuating, Viral warned, their skin pulsing erratically. I cannot maintain this connection much longer. The ship shuddered as weapon fire from the pursuers grazed their shields. Alarms blared as multiple systems approached critical failure. We're not going to make it to the jump point, Kai realized aloud. Through their connection, a solution formed simultaneously in all 3 minds. Without needing discussion, they acted in perfect coordination. Sarah rerouted power from life support to the shields. Viral channeled the final surge of energy from the seed into the engines. Kai executed a maneuver no human pilot would attempt, cutting engines briefly to drop below the pursuit trajectory, then reigniting them at maximum output to change course radically. The rust bucket screamed through space, structural integrity warnings flashing red across every console. For a moment, it seemed the ship would tear itself apart from the strain. Then they crossed the minimum safe jump threshold, and Kai slammed the hyperdrive activation without bothering with the usual calculations. The stars stretched and vanished as they entered FTL travel on a barely plotted course. Only then did Kai release his white-knuckled grip on the controls. Did we make it? He gasped, the strain of their escape catching up to him. Pursuit lost, Sarah confirmed, her enhanced perceptions already fading as the immediate danger passed. But our jump was imprecise. Navigation is offline. I can't determine our exact trajectory. The connection is weakening, Viral observed, their skins settling into a more natural pattern as they collapsed into the third seat. The seed has returned to dormancy after the exertion. As if to confirm this, Kai felt the strange awareness of the others receding from his mind. Not disappearing entirely, but diminishing to a subtle background awareness rather than the direct connection they had shared. Is it gone? He asked, surprised by the sense of loss he felt. Not gone, Viral assured him. Changed. The intense connection was a response to immediate danger. What remains is a bond. Subtler, but permanent. Permanent, Sarah echoed, the professional distance in her voice unconvincing now that they had shared each other's innermost thoughts and feelings. The seed has resonated with our core patterns, Viral explained. Such harmonization cannot be fully undone. We are aligned now, a triad. Kai ran system diagnostics, trying to process this information. So we're stuck with a psychic connection to each other for good? That's going to make my dating life complicated. The joke fell flat, all of them aware of the profound intimacy they had experienced. No ordinary relationship could compare to the direct sharing of consciousness they had undergone. The ship's in bad shape, Kai reported after a moment, changing the subject. Main engines damaged beyond my ability to repair. Hyperdrive functioning, but unstable. We'll need to drop out of FTL soon. Communications array destroyed. Navigation systems compromised. And we have a chorus seed that both Xylos and the Crimson Hand would kill to possess, Sarah added, her tactical mind still active despite the fading enhancement. I don't suppose your people have an embassy we can drop it off at? Kai asked Viral. The Lorians shook their heads solemnly. The seed must be taken to Echo's Sanctum, a hidden archive where such artifacts are studied and protected. It lies within the Cerulean Nebula, beyond charted space. Perfect, Kai sighed. An impossible journey in a crippled ship while being hunted by a powerful corporation and a crime syndicate. He leaned back, in his chair, suddenly exhausted. Any good news? We're alive, Sarah offered with unexpected softness. And she hesitated, not alone. The simple statement carried weight beyond the words themselves. They had all been solitary figures before this mission. Kai running from his past, Sarah rigidly isolated by her military bearing, Viral an enigmatic outsider. Now, whether they had chosen it or not, they were connected. The seed chose us, Viral said quietly. It does not create bonds without purpose. And what purpose would that be? Kai asked skeptically. That, the Lorian replied with a ripple of color that suggested a smile, remains to be discovered. The rust bucket limped through FTL, its systems gradually stabilizing as the seed's energy dissipated. In the dimly lit cockpit, the three unlikely companions sat in thoughtful silence, each feeling the subtle presence of the others in their mind. No longer an invasion, but a comfort in the vast emptiness of space. Hours later, as the adrenaline of escape faded, they gathered in the ship's small common area. The portable containment unit sat on the table between them, the chorus seed within pulsing with gentle light. So, Kai began, breaking the silence. Let's talk about our options, such as they are. We cannot return to civilized space, Sarah stated matter-of-factly. Xylos will have flagged us in every system. My credentials have been burned. Your ship is recognized. The Crimson Hand will be looking for me too, Kai added grimly. They don't take kindly to debtors who vanish. Echo Sanctum remains our best option, Viral insisted. The archivist there can properly contain the seed and perhaps help us understand our new connection. And how do we get there in a ship held together with emergency patches and alien energy? Kai asked. Sarah pulled up a star chart on her portable device. If we drop out of FTL near the Vega Drift, we might find a black market shipyard willing to do repairs without asking questions. With what money? Kai countered. Everything I had was going to pay off the Crimson Hand. A thoughtful expression crossed Viral's face, their skin shifting to a contemplative blue-green. The seed's container includes Lorian artifacts of considerable value to certain collectors. Not enough to replace your ship, but perhaps enough for essential repairs. You'd sell sacred artifacts? Kai asked, surprised. To protect the seed itself? Yes. Viral's tone was resolute. The container is merely a vessel. The seed is what matters. Kai nodded slowly, a plan forming in his mind. Vega Drift it is, then. We get repairs, then head for this Echo Sanctum of yours. It won't be easy, Sarah warned. The Cerulean Nebula has never been successfully navigated. The radiation and gravitational anomalies make conventional FTL impossible. That, Viral said with a subtle shift of color that suggested confidence, is why the seed chose a pilot of extraordinary skill. Kai felt a strange warmth at the compliment, especially knowing that Viral had directly experienced his abilities through their connection. And a security expert with tactical genius, he added, nodding to Sarah, and whatever the hell you are beyond xenobiologist. Guardian, Viral reminded him simply. Right. Kai leaned forward, placing his hand near the containment unit. After a moment's hesitation, Sarah and Viral did the same, their hands forming a triangle around the softly pulsing seed. I guess we're a team now. The three of US against, well, pretty much everyone. A triad, Viral corrected gently. More than a team, bound by resonance. Through their fading but still present connection, Kai felt Sarah's reluctant acceptance of this new reality and Viral's quiet certainty. His own feelings were a complex mix of fear, excitement, and something he hadn't experienced in a very long time. Hope. All right then, he said, a rare genuine smile touching his lips. Rust Bucket, take us to Vega Drift. After that, let's see what trouble we can find next. As the damaged ship carried them through the void, the chorus seed pulsed between them, binding three disparate souls into something greater than themselves, not by force, but by revealing the harmony that had always been possible between them. Whatever challenges awaited, they would face them not as separate individuals, but as a resonant triad, their strengths amplified by their connection. Somewhere in the vast darkness ahead lay Echo Sanctum and answers to questions they were only beginning to formulate. The journey would be dangerous, perhaps impossible by conventional standards. But as the subtle awareness of each other flowed between them, Kai, Sarah, and Viral knew with quiet certainty that they were exactly where they needed to be, together, connected, heading into the unknown as one.